You might have been familiar with the violent nature of the UFC, Ultimate Fighting Championship, games that are most often littered with tussles and conflicts between various all-time greatest athletes. But let me tell you that nothing beats the legendary rivalries of UFC year 2022. The aggressive nature of the UFC leads these MMA fights, fought like no other sport, pitting two great fighters against each other, in front-to-front battles that often end up with aggression, blood and anger for each other. These tremendous rivalries in UFC also create an incredibly heated atmosphere for their supporters, too. Here in this video, we have compiled a list of the top 5 greatest rivalries of UFC 2022 in the history of the sport. So without any further delay, let's get started. From the highly anticipated rematch between Jon Jones and Dominic Reyes, to the grudge match between Colby Covington and Tyron Woodley, the UFC is always filled with intense rivalries and unforgettable moments. But which fights and moments stand out above the rest? Stick around to find out as we count down the top UFC rivalries and moments of 2022. Who will come out on top in these epic showdowns? Will it be the seasoned veteran, or the up-and-coming newcomer? There's only one way to find out, by tuning into our video. So don't go anywhere, and let's get started. Number 5, Israel Adesanya vs Alex Pereira. Israel Adesanya and Alex Pereira are both well-known UFC fighters who have competed in the Ultimate Fighting Championship, UFC. They have had a long-standing rivalry, and their animosity towards each other that has been well publicized. The rivalry between UFC middleweight champions Israel Adesanya and Alex Pereira has been growing for years. Adesanya is a kickboxing champion and Pereira is a Muay Thai champion, and the two have faced off in several MMA bouts. They have had a long history of back-and-forth trash talking, and the tension between them has been growing since before their first fight. The UFC booked their latest fight in July 2022, with Adesanya defending his title against Pereira. This fight promises to be an exciting matchup between two of the most skilled fighters in the UFC. Both fighters have achieved great success in their respective martial arts disciplines, and the anticipation for this matchup was high. The implications of this rivalry for the UFC and for martial arts in general are huge. This fight was sure to be an exciting bout, and the outcome could have a significant impact on the future of both fighters and the sport of MMA. However, Pereira won at UFC 281, defeating Israel Adesanya at the 5th round via knockout, but it seems that was not the end of their rivalry, as there have been rumors of a rematch for 2023. Number 4, Conor McGregor vs Khabib Nurmagomedov. At number 4, we have the greatest rivals, Conor McGregor and Khabib Nurmagomedov. Conor and Khabib are two of the most well-known mixed martial artists in the Ultimate Fighting Championship, UFC. They have a long-standing rivalry, and have faced off in the octagon before. The first fight between McGregor and Nurmagomedov took place in October 2018 at UFC 229. Before the fight, there was a lot of tension and trash talks between both fighters, which got the fans hyped up even before the main event night. The highly anticipated fight ended in a 4th-round submission victory for Khabib. The event was one of the most successful in UFC history and set a number of records, including the highest pay-per-view buy rate. Number 3, Chuck Liddell vs Tito Ortiz. At number 3, we have Chuck Liddell and Tito Ortiz. The rivalry between Chuck Liddell and Tito Ortiz is the stuff of legend in the world of mixed martial arts. These two fighters were once friends and training partners, but their relationship turned sour over the years, and they became fierce competitors in the octagon. The tension between Liddell and Ortiz dates back to the early days of the UFC, when both men were rising stars in the organization. They first faced off in the octagon in April 2004, with Liddell coming out on top in a unanimous decision victory. However, their rivalry was far from over. The two fighters faced off again in December 2006, with Liddell emerging victorious again. Despite their differences, both Liddell and Ortiz are considered legends of the sport and have made significant contributions to the growth and popularity of the UFC. Number 2, Kamaru Usman versus Leon Edwards. The rivalry between Kamaru Usman and Leon Edwards in the UFC is one of the most intense in the sport. Both men are top-tier welterweights, who have impressive records. Both men faced each other 7 years back, with Usman winning via unanimous decision. And since then Usman is on a 13-fight win streak, and Edwards is undefeated in his last 9 bouts. However, in their last battle at UFC 278, Edwards won via KO headshot, crowning him the new pound-for-pound champion. The rivalry between the two men remains strong, as the UFC has announced that there will be a rematch between the two champions for the gold. It's certain we shall see Leon Edwards and Kamaru Usman face off again in the octagon, and they are sure to put on an exciting fight whenever they face off inside the octagon. Number 1, Dustin Poirier versus Michael Chandler. Last but not the least, the rivalry between Dustin Poirier and Chandler is considered one of the most thrilled and highly electrified in the world of UFC fights in 2022. These two fighters have faced off in the octagon before, and their fights have always been intense, exhilarated, and memorable. The two have clashed before, with Poirier winning by submission in the first round of their fight in 2018. However, their rivalry has grown since then, and the two have continued to exchange trash talk in the media and on social media. The UFC recently booked their latest fight, with Poirier defending his lightweight territory against Chandler. Despite Israel Adesanya and Alex Pereira being the main event on the scorecards, the match between Poirier and Chandler was called the People's Main Event, as the fans were energetic throughout the match. Their rivalry was already been building for some time, and the outcome of this fight added further fuel on the fire. Chandler's defeat in third round of UFC 281 match would have far significant impact on the future of both fighters and the sport of MMA.
This was all about the greatest rivalries of UFC 2022. Which was your favorite one? And who will emerge as the greatest rival of the year 2023 in the Ultimate Fighting Championship? Let us know in the comments below. If you find this video helpful, make sure to give it a thumbs up. And don't forget to subscribe to our channel for all the latest updates and more exciting videos. Peace.